morning, good morning. How's everyone doing? Let's be honest about one thing. Keeping up with the news can be awful. Like, really awful. I'm seeing head nods already. Most of us do it out of a sense of duty or the basic need to know what's going on in the world. But we're definitely not doing it because it's fun, calming, soothing, right? In fact, half of Brits have actively turned off the news, and 36% has said that it negatively impacts their mental health. I'm sure none of you are surprised. Keeping up with the news rarely works as a mental health boost in quite the same way as gazing upon a freshly organized pantry. But I'm here to challenge the idea that keeping up with current affairs has to wreck your mood. And actually, let me go one step further. I believe keeping up with the news can actually be a form of self-care. Not convinced? I get it. Before I took the helm of the know, I was skeptical too. We're a media startup dedicated to improving people's relationship with the news. The news is overwhelming. There's so much information, yet so little background, context, and nuance. Every story can feel dark and urgent, but there's no ways to take action. At The Know, we came to the conclusion that the news was not serving us. So we decided that the media needs to be decluttered. And if I say so myself, I think we really cracked the code. And because we believe that everyone deserves access to non-stressful news sources, I'm going to share our roadmap for a healthier kind of news. Hopefully, we can help make keeping up with current affairs an integral part of your day. So let's start with step one. Take inventory of your news consumption. Where are you learning about current affairs? Is it in your social media news feeds? Do you turn to the TV when you get ready for the morning? Do you scroll through news apps while sitting on the loo? For 1 week, I want you to assess where you're getting the news from and which sources actually make you feel informed, like really informed, not just aware of the issue, but aware of where the problem came from and the solutions that exist. I would not be surprised if none of your sources meet this criteria. During your week of conscious news consumption, I also want you to assess your stress levels. Does Twitter raise your blood pressure in a way that a daily newsletter doesn't? Do you prefer to watch a news presenter because you're seeing the news from a familiar face? Figure out what's working for you and what's not. If you're noticing that none of your news sources feel this way, don't be stressed. It's time for step two. That's diversifying your news sources. This is the experimental phase. It's where you try to find all the different ways you can find out about current affairs. Try popping on a news podcast in the mornings, subscribing to a daily digest, pick up your paper on your way to work. Test out all kinds of different things. Learn which ones you actually enjoy and drop the rest. Breaking up with news sources that only stress you out will almost inevitably involve cleaning out your social media. Think about it. Most of the time when we open up our social media accounts, we're trying to disconnect from the world. But oftentimes we're bombarded with information that stresses us out instead. Take an axe to your Instagram feed and get rid of any accounts that are likely to ruin a perfectly good day. Of course, we need to do a little disclaimer, because current affairs are inherently stressful. There are a lot of problems in the world, and it's impossible to be informed without feeling a little bit of anxiety. That's why we put so much emphasis on step 3. Limit the amount of time you're spending on the news. And I know that's a bit counterintuitive to somebody who runs a news organization. There's no reason to surround yourself with stressful information all day. It's simply not going to help you. In fact, it's much likely to burn you out. So we suggest setting up a routine dedicated to solely learning about the news for a limited time. For example, our readers like to do 5 minutes in the day with a daily newsletter, 15 minutes of the evening on news apps. This is a surefire way to prevent news burnout and social media doom scrolling by putting down the news and recognizing that it's impossible to be an expert on everything, but it is possible to maintain motivation to keep up with current affairs. And that brings us to step 4. The final step, getting involved in initiatives that matter to you. Although this seems like it doesn't have much to do with news consumption, it's actually a really important part of the picture. Most of us get overwhelmed with the negativity because it seems like we can't meaningfully do anything about it. Think about the cost of living crisis, for example. We're all feeling it, and if we're not feeling it now, we're going to feel it soon. What's more helpful than sharing outrage-inducing gaffes and scary figures? Well, it's pairing the facts with ways to take action. At The Know, we always try to highlight people and organizations that are making positive changes in the same issues that we're covering. We do this not only just because we see our coverage as an outlet of a way to make change, but we also spotlight ways the readers can contribute because it reduces their stress. Feeling like you've got a bit of control is priceless. So, we've covered a lot, but let's go over the 4 steps quickly. First, figure out where you're getting your news from and assess whether those sources are making you feel informed, anxious, or some mix of the two. Next, try a bunch of different news sources. Choose your favorites and dump the rest. That includes unfollowing any social media accounts that stress you out. Then there's 3, building a routine for news consumption that ensures you're spending some time keeping up with current affairs, but you aren't spending ages scrolling news sites. And finally, find accessible ways to contribute to issues that resonate with you the most. Now, I couldn't finish the talk without pointing you to a resource that I really believe in. That's our daily newsletter. It's a 5-minute read that presents the news in an uplifting yet informative way. We're always honest about the issues, but we're committed to taking action and avoiding outrage culture. You can scan this QR code here for this weekend's edition. You'll also see flyers around on the tables. And I'll be over here if you have any questions. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for that. And it's so true that actually sometimes I have to block people on social media because the news they're bringing me, they're sort of picking up on just the negative parts of the news. And it gets to me. And I'm one of those terrible people that looks at it just before I go to bed. Why do I do that? So, in fact, that leads me quite nicely onto our first panel discussion of the day. Because you know what? Social media is really important these days, isn't it? It brings good, it brings bad. But certainly where the cleaning and tidying community is concerned, I think it's brought a lot of us together, which actually in itself has been a very positive thing. So I'd like to welcome onto the stage my panel. We have Harry Harvey from Garage Style. We have... We almost need some like special music for, there you go. I would sing for you to come on the stage, but people would just leave. We have Sophie Liard, the folding lady.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, I'm on.
And we have Hannah Chapman from Ava May Aromas, and I've just been sniffing some of their things. They are divine. They're right at the front, so do go and have a look afterwards. So I'm going to come and sit down. These very comfy seats, aren't they? So, first of all, I'd like to ask each of you about your business. So, first of all, tell us about your business. Why and how did you start it?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah. I run Ava May Aromas, if you don't know of it. So it's a home fragrance company. So we sell wax melts, candles, diffusers, all the things that make your home smell good, make you feel good about it.
They smell really good.
You've been smelling them all morning. And I started in July 2018. So I think nearly 5 years ago, something like that. Just started out wanting to work for myself, really. And Instagram is obviously free and accessible and such an amazing marketing tool. And it just enabled me to grow it in a way that's a bit unconventional, I think. But yeah, turned into a full-time business. So here we are.
We'll hear more about the sort of Insta side of things soon.
Yeah.
So Sophie, tell us all about you, the folding lady. Tell us what that means exactly for those that don't know already.
So that is me, the folding lady. That's my brand. And I run my social media pages that I teach people to fold, and we talk about the home and life and how to fold our clothes and how it makes us feel. And then you know, I don't have any products or I am the product of my business, but I've recently written a book, which is amazing, and I work with a lot of brands as well.
Do you know what? I'm obsessed with folding my towels in the right way. Anyone
Yeah.
else here need to fold their towels in the right way?
Me.
But can I get my family to do it? It
No.
doesn't matter. I've even done a video. Look, watch the video, and then you can see how to fold the towels. Might get you round. And then Harry, tell us about your business.
Yes, so my business is called Garage Style. We're a garage flooring company that cover the whole of the UK, and we've worked with a lot of big home influencers, so Instagram is the main one for us. But yeah, we do garage flooring, garage doors, and all sorts of accessories for the garage as well.
Well, so this is great because we've got such a kind of wide range of people here. I think we're going to get different experiences. So first of all, please do tell me, Hannah, how important would you say social media has been to your business?
Oh, social media is the reason I have a business, definitely. Like when I started, I didn't have any budget or money for, really investing in traditional marketing routes. I guess I've grown up with social media. In that generation that, we had Facebook, things like that. So I felt like I had an understanding of it. I actually worked at a media marketing agency before I started my business, and knew that, if you approach influencers and just offer freebies, you might just get lucky and find that shout. And I got very lucky when I crossed paths with Sophie really early on, so Mrs. Hinch, and she's been a huge part of why I was able to grow and, projected that growth for me. So yeah, social media, I wouldn't have a business without it, basically. It's been built on it, so really important.
So I should imagine it's a similar story for you, is it, Sophie?
Yeah, really similar. I started on TikTok and went viral on TikTok. That's my biggest platform. And then from TikTok, listening to my followers. I didn't actually join Instagram for quite a while, but listening to the feedback from my followers on TikTok, I then started an Instagram account. And then actually Instagram is probably my main hub at the minute. Even though it's my smaller following, it's definitely a more quality following, like an easier way to communicate with my followers than TikTok. A totally different style platforms. And then YouTube, Pinterest, Facebook. I mean, you've got
You end up having to do them all, don't you? Because it's kind of like you're
absolutely not.
Different
But
areas.
the one thing you must do is secure your handle on every single platform. Even if you're not going to post on there, just secure a handle so no one else can take it. That's what I did really early on. Even though I had no intention of hitting YouTube until now, I'm like 3 years in, I needed the Folding Lady to be mine. So I remember really early on when it really started to build, I just went to every single social media platform and just logged in, just signed up, the Folding Lady, put my logo on, that's mine. And when the time's right, I don't need to worry about whether someone else has already taken it.
I'm kind of laughing at the fact that there's another folding lady somewhere in the world who's just like a body contortionist or something.
Yes.
It's gone, damn it. So Harry, tell me about you. How important would you say social media is?
Yeah, same really. So we started up and for a long time was doing a lot of events and stuff like that. And once we started working with a lot of the influencers, it sort of completely changed the business. So a bit like Hannah, we worked with Mrs. Hinch quite early on, and that sort of changed the business overnight. And then we obviously put more effort into social media, and it's sort of built the whole business today. So probably about 90% of our business comes through Instagram now. We also do TikTok, YouTube, everything else, but yeah, Instagram's our main platform still.
Do you know what? I'm still not doing TikTok, and it makes me so old school. I'm really interested though, Sophie. Why did you start on TikTok? Because it's quite interesting to then go to Insta, like an interesting way of doing it.
I think I was just bored of Instagram. I was bored of all the other platforms. I had this rule before I worked on social media. I had this rule where I was just like one platform at a time, and I just needed a change. And I thought, do you know what? We'll put Insta down for a minute, and I'm going to see what TikTok's all about. And it was, and then I started posting things, and just became really enjoyable. So it was just, that's what happened. It just happened to be that way.
It's very organic.
It's very organic.
Now, obviously, as I said earlier, social media has its highs, it has its lows. Let's talk about the positives first of all. So what would you say have been your social media highs? Any like really positive stories from it?
Honestly, like the best thing, without a shadow of a doubt, is the people that you meet in real life and become friends. Like, definitely, I've met some of my best friends now through Instagram, and obviously they're people that I wouldn't have crossed paths with. And obviously the other side of just being self-employed and having your own business and that independence and freedom. Like, I'm really grateful for that, and I'm really proud of that. So yeah, like, honestly, just the experiences and like being here, this kind of thing, you wouldn't get to do that. So yeah, social media has loads of positives, and I do think that they outweigh the negatives. So.
And how about you, Harry? What would you say? Like, what do you love about social media? And are there any particular kind of moments where it's been like, yes?
Yeah, so I think same really. We've met a lot of people through there. So just the networking, businesses we work with and stuff that all started through Instagram has been good. And also we actually took part in a Channel 5 show about garages, and that all came off the back of Instagram. They found us on there. So the opportunities you can open up as well, for sure.
And so, Sophie, for you, I mean, you said about going viral, which that's got to have been an exciting time. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, it just happens. You just
How quickly did it happen?
So the first few videos that I posted, they just built up, and I kind of like one day just was like, oh, I've got like 30,000 followers, and that's quite a lot. That's cool. And then I don't know, I just had one sock video one day that just, I folded socks for the first time. And I just was like, I remember sat at my mum's, and my husband Jacob's just there. We were sat at my mum's, and I was like, yeah, I just have 99 notifications all the time. If you're on TikTok, you'll know what I mean. Like 99 all the time. I was like, I don't really know what's going on. I didn't really notice it until then we were like, oh, it's like 100,000 people now. That's a lot. But it's different on TikTok as well. It's not as exposing. So 100,000 people isn't quite as like scary, or not scary, but I use that word as say 100,000 people on Instagram. But it just happened like that. But you know, I had a few followers, and then it just happened, and then you build a little bit, then you might have another viral video, and then before you know it, you've got 1 million followers, and then you're on like 4 million followers, and then you're like, wow.
And what did you do to celebrate?
I didn't celebrate.
Oh, right, it kind of was just sort of
I
happening.
didn't. I think we always said, didn't we? We were like, are we supposed to get balloons or like? But we're just not that type.
I'm thinking more champagne.
I'm
more of a champagne
with that.
Do
celebration.
you know what? It feels differently. It feels. I don't know if anyone else agree. I don't know. It just feels differently. Like when you actually do it, you're like still working hard, and you're still thinking of the next thing, and you're like, it's great that all those people are there, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just it didn't.
I get it.
Feel like it was.
It's the whole thing with the virtual world, isn't it? I guess it's like you're not somewhere being handed something.
I think the balloon thing is some people like to do. I don't know. For me, I didn't feel that way. I was like, great. There's like 1 million of us. Like, I love you. Like, thank you. But do I need to shout about it? I don't know. It just wasn't something that felt right.
Now, I'm very interested that your husband's here, because at the end, I'm going to keep checking my watch, by the way. I'm not being rude. I just want to make sure that we've got time for some questions and answers at the end. So do start thinking about what you might want to ask any of my guests here. But I really want to have a chat with your husband and see how told off he gets if he doesn't do his socks right.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's going to disappear now, isn't he? So we do have to talk about the negative side, because actually I think one of the things that is dangerous on Instagram in particular is people only putting the positive stuff out there. I was going through a bit of a tough time at the start of the summer, and normally if I'm in a mood, I just won't post anything. And I just thought, you know what? I'm actually going to post the fact that I'm feeling sad today, that things are not going right for me at the moment, and just put it out there. And my goodness, it was amazing how many people want to connect with that. And I think I've been guilty of not showing the real life that I only show. Oh, today I'm at the studio. Today I'm happy because I'm doing this or whatever. But there are some negative sides to social media. So we do have to touch on that, I think. So first of all, Hannah, tell us, have you had any negative experiences?
Yeah, definitely. I've had my
fair share. How did you deal with that?
I think I've learned as I've gone. Like I said, I've been on Instagram for sort of 4 or 5 years now, and I'm 27 now. So I was only 22, 23 when I started out, which I look back at my younger self and I just think I was very naive when I joined. I thought that everyone would be nice. Everyone would be just my friend. I don't know. I just was very naive, and I don't think I really knew what I was signing up to. Like, you do expose yourself. I think that's probably one word I'd use to describe how I feel at times. You feel very exposed, and you do get people in your inbox who, I guess, think that they know you, or just feel that they have the right to comment, you know, and they can send some really awful things. And I've really struggled with that. And I've been really open about my mental health on Instagram, and I've definitely had like low periods. And like you, I think at first I tried to show the perfect picture, and then over the last year or two I've been a bit more open about when I'm going through a down or a low. And the response from most people, again, is lovely and supportive, but you know, you do still get the odd negative message, and I've just got better at coping with that and not ignoring it. And I'm not going to say that, you know, it doesn't affect you, because it does, but definitely got stronger and just more resilient to it, I think. And you just have to not let those people's opinions affect you. But it is hard. It's not, you know, it's not easy, and I think people do underestimate, you know, how much it can impact people. So yeah, and I wish that, you know, social media companies like Instagram would do more to have verified accounts and things like that, just so that you can't have these anonymous troll accounts. I just think it's wrong, but unfortunately that's not been done yet. So hopefully as we go, it'll improve.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I often think, I've got a 7-year-old daughter, and I just kind of think, by the time she's allowed a phone, which I think is, I think about 40 years old, I'm going to allow her a phone. I just
Good
really,
luck with that.
I really, 40 that is. I really, her dad says she can't have a boyfriend till she's 40, so I'm going to say she can't have a phone till she's 40. But I kind of think, oh, where are we going to be with social media when she gets to the point where she can have a phone? Because it's scary. So how about you, Sophie? What have you had any negative experiences, and how have you dealt with that?
I haven't really had any sort of trolling as such, because I think with my account, I fold clothes. I mean, it's not very controversial. And there's not much you can say about folding clothes.
There is a wrong way to fold stuff.
I mean, I get like passive aggressiveness, I would say. And sometimes I think we can say, like, if I read a message, and I know it's passive aggressive because, you know, we've all done it. And I'm like, oh, that really annoys me. But to be honest, no, if I'd have done this 10 years ago when I was in my 20s, I probably would have been just absolutely crying in the corner. But I think now I'm edging towards 40. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. I am here offering what I'm offering. If you like it, I love you. If you don't like it, that's absolutely fine. Like, because this is the thing, right? I feel, and I talk about this all in my book, there's this thing of entitlement on social media. Like, and I get it. Sometimes I'll get the odd message like, when are you going to post this? You should be posting this. And it's like, no, I should be posting what I want to post. And although I do listen to my followers, of course, and that's why I post what I post most of the time, but it's still my business, and it's still my choice. And if it's something that they don't like, it's not my responsibility to stop you watching me. You can carry on, that's fine with me. And people just need to take responsibility for themselves and what they're watching. And if it's upsetting them and making them send messages that clearly isn't very nice, then they need to move on, because we can't do anything about it. We can't do it. There's nothing we can do.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Is I remember someone saying to me once that, unfortunately, more people are going to give back negative feedback than they will do positive. They're more inspired to it, which is a real shame. You know, I think a lot of people might come away from this show going, oh my God, it was amazing. They're amazing speakers. They might tell some friends and family. But it's anyone that's not happy. It's a disgruntled person that goes out there in social media and says that. And it can be really hard to kind of get that in your head that actually it's more likely them that are going to and quite often it's coming from an unhappy place that they have. But also that sense of ownership of your followers is really interesting, isn't it? Because like you say, I think people like successful influencers because it's coming from the heart, it's coming from them. So to try and dictate to you what you should do is quite incredible.
I think the problem that we've got at the minute is we're always trying to tell the influencer what they should be, how are we feeling, how we're never teaching the person watching how, you know, and what we should be doing with kids now that have no idea what it's like to live life without a phone and without social media. We should be teaching the children now, if this makes you feel like this and you're going to send this sort of message, you need to step away. We're not teaching people how to manage that feeling and that unhappiness that you talk about. The ownership seems to be on us, and then we have to talk about how does it make us feel and we have to air it, which we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't be giving them the energy. But we should be teaching those people how to step away from that moment, and I don't think we do that enough.
I think what's quite nice, I don't know whether you find this, that if anybody is trolling and you kind of say something about it, actually you get this flood of people supporting you, and actually that's really nice. It's kind of it's a really nice thing.
Yeah.
Harry, sorry, I'm leaving you out here,
No
and
worries.
I'm kind of
Sorry,
thinking.
I went on.
Yeah. Do you get trolled? I mean, that's an interesting thing. Like, for a company like yours, for somebody to give it any negative experiences for you.
Yeah, so we're quite lucky, really. We don't get too many trolls or too much hate, but we have had the odd people. We tend to get stuff where people are saying the customer's car is worth more than the house, and just stupid things like that, really.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing too bad. I mean, we
more
did have one
annoying.
recently. We had a video that went viral, and there were a lot of people commenting about our fitter, different things about his appearance, and it got a bit nasty there. So we were just sort of deleting it all, and we just tend to ignore it and delete and block anyone who is being aggressive. But yeah, luckily we don't get it too often. So.
Do you find that you get anything negative from like your competition?
I don't think so. I know we get a lot of them sort of copying the content we're doing and stuff like that, but no, we haven't had too much negative comments or anything like that from them, I don't think.
Because I think I've heard in some industries that's actually where a company might have their negative experience, which seems a real shame. You know, there's a space for all of us, isn't there?
Yeah.
So tell me, I'm interested. Do you feel like, since being sort of out there, that your home has changed? That I mean, for you, it's more about the garage, isn't it?
Yeah.
But do you feel like that there's almost like a pressure on you to kind of sort of have?
I mean, yeah, definitely as far as the garage is concerned, because everyone always says, "Oh, your garage must be amazing." So it did during the first lockdown. Me and the wife said, "Right, it's time to do it." So cleared it all out, painted it all, obviously flooring and other bits and pieces. So yeah, it was. Everyone expects my garage to be amazing, so it did give us a kick to do it.
But it was like kind of a good thing in a way, or
Yeah.
is it difficult pressure?
I mean, we don't show too much of like behind the scenes as in our house and stuff like that, so it's not really out there. But yeah, especially for people we know, they all expect the garage to be as our customers should be. So yeah, definitely with that front.
And how about you, Hannah? I mean, do you feel the pressure to smell good all the time?
I know. Everyone always says, "Oh, your house must smell amazing," and I think I'm so sick of it by the time I get home. Literally, I've got a cupboard
Too
of
much of a
melts.
good thing.
Yeah, I know. No, like I do put stuff on, but I only again I'm the same. I don't show a lot of the house. That's my space, and it's I don't not share it, but I do it as and when I feel like doing it, and I only show what I want to show. But yeah, I do get that a lot. It must smell amazing, and I think, God, I don't know, does it? If you walked in, I'm not sure.
Do you feel your home has changed though since you launched the business?
Yeah, definitely, because I think I spend a lot of time on social media, obviously in the Instagram community, the cleaning community. So definitely I've been influenced with folding. I definitely fold my clothes different now. Just general organisation. And you come across businesses. I was literally saying I want my garage floor doing. Not that that's something I probably would have ever thought of before, but I've seen how good they look. And I'm, like little things like that, definitely been influenced by it. Brands that I buy from, all sorts, beauty, skincare, all that kind of thing that I probably wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise. So yeah, definitely it's influenced my life.
A lot of inspiration out there, isn't there, as well?
Yeah.
How about you, Sophie? Do you feel like, even just if you've got friends and family coming over, do you, because I'd almost feel like, oh, she hasn't folded that very well, has she? do you feel like your home has changed as a result of doing this?
I mean, yes and no. I guess sometimes there's things that we think about, like we were changing the light bulbs when we moved house last year, and I was like, oh, we need to get white light bulbs because that's good for filming. So there's like aesthetics and practical things that we think of, and when we get on our list is get the wardrobes done, and I'll be doing that in a way where it'll be easy for me to film my wardrobes because that's part of my story, it's part of my narrative, it's part of my content, so it all tie in. But I mean, I don't post my children, I don't post my teenager. He's never wanted to be on social media. He made that choice from the beginning. Some people don't even know I've got a 14/ nearly 15-year-old. And
Poor you.
yeah. And my little one, who's 3, we've just kind of taken him off a bit, haven't we? We're posting a little bit of stuff. We post him because he's the cutest. But then, you think, wow, if my 14-year-old doesn't want to be on it, what have I got a right to post my 3-year-old without asking him? So we post Little Arthur now and again, but actually our teenager has opened our eyes onto, should we be posting our little one as well? So, and people, I find it really weird to post people. So if I'm out and about, I'm like, oh, would these people care that they were on a platform with 600,000 people? That's not really fair for me to do that. It's a bit of a funny one, isn't it? So, and also it's really unnatural. Like when there's family round, I think we were at a party and I think some people might have wanted to be posted and tagged, but it's really unnatural to go, oh, by the way, I might put some of this on my social media. Do you mind if I tag you? You like stump the whole naturalness of your night. So usually I just choose to not bother and I'll just post a little something without other people in because I feel like I should ask them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've always posted my cat. I mean, I've checked with him. He's all right with it. He's very Instagrammable as well. And I have always posted my daughter since I've been doing it. And then she's now got to an age where, oh no, I really should ask your permission. I mean, she's like a mummy. She likes the attention, so she's always quite happy with it. But it does get to a point where actually, no, it's not, you don't belong to me, so therefore I shouldn't be doing that. But also, I have to say that I have been out with usually younger friends that are a lot more sort of Insta savvy and everything, that they'll just suddenly take a photo and they'll put it on, and I'm like, oh, I'm out tonight just having fun. I don't really want to have my picture of me going like this on there. And it is an interesting kind of thing. I mean, it wasn't around when I was in my 20s. Thank goodness when I think of some of the nights out I had in my 20s. But yeah, it can be sort of quite a private thing. I mean, you've talked about the fact that you don't show your house. Do you ever feel invaded at all by the fact that you're on social media, kind of even just personally?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, I do show the house occasionally, but only when I feel like it, and it might just be a really small snip. Like, I think I show the kitchen more than anything because I've got a wax melt burner in there. So, like if it's relevant. But yeah, as like I said earlier, I think exposed would be the word that I feel at times, just where people comment and, I don't know, they give their opinion and it's unsolicited, you've not asked for it. And yeah, it can be exposing, but I suppose the one thing that we do have control of is how much we share. And like I said, I think I've learned a lot. I started in my earlier 20s and now I'm heading towards 30 and I'm thinking, oh my God. And I've changed so much in that time and I'm not as naive as I was. I've obviously learned to cope with things a lot better. And I've learned that, if I put lots of personal content out there, then I am going to get judged for it. So I've probably retracted a little bit and I don't share as much as I used to, and I've learned that. Not that it should have to be that way, but I've learned to sort of protect myself a bit better, I think, and just cope in general in a better way.
But it's important, it's like you said, it's control. It's like we don't have to... We only have to put out what we want to put out, and actually, nobody else is in charge of that, aren't they?
Yeah.
So for you guys, so Harry, sort of in this weird virtual world that we live in, we kind of make lots of friends and have lots of followers, but actually really important people to us. I've recently been connecting with a lot more women on Instagram that are sort of doing similar things to me, and I've loved just chatting to them. But it may be that you never meet them, so you're more likely to meet people here at this event, your ambassadors, your friends on social media. How important is that to you?
Yeah, no, it's always good to see. We've had a lot of messages from people that sort of often comment on our stuff who said they can't wait to come and meet us here, so it's always good to put a face to the name. We do a lot of events in the car scene and stuff, and it's the same there, so a lot of people we speak to regularly that we've never met, so it's always nice to meet them and have a catch up and put the face to the name.
How about for you, Sophie?
Oh yeah, it's amazing because for me, not working with other people, not often anyway, I'm always on my own. And coming from a retail shop floor environment, I'm so used to having the whole buzz of the team and the customers and the general public. So that is probably the side of the job for me, this new job I've got, I've had to really adjust to. It's quite lonely on this side of the phone sometimes. So to come here today, whenever I get asked to go out of the house, I'm like, oh no, yes. I think I got asked to go to a couple of things last week. I never text back quicker than I do when I get asked to go out the house. They're like, do you want to go to this? Yes. And I don't even read what it is. I just see go to. So yeah, and also I just met, I don't know if Jen's here, but I just met Jen, who is on TikTok. She's called Clean with Jen, but I have been chatting to her from like pandemic times, and we just met for the first time just now, and it was just so nice. And it's just lovely. It's just nice to meet people in the flesh. It is very strange to, well, it's not strange, but it's, you know, we don't talk to people. We don't see people in the flesh that often, which I do love. I do love not meeting people. But then I also love meeting people as well, so.
So you have a Christmas party for one, and you sit there with a Christmas hat, pull a cracker with yourself.
Such a loner.
Ah, not at all, not at all. No, I know what you mean, and particularly after the pandemic. Somebody was saying to me this morning, oh, it's lovely to be here. And I'm like, it's brilliant to be here. I get so excited when we have any kind of events like this where we can meet up, particularly one like this where we know, it's going to be a really lovely atmosphere.
Yeah.
So how about for you, Hannah?
Yeah, it's like similar, like seeing people, you've seen them on the screen for years and years, or you've been chatting to them for a couple of years, and you feel like, you know them, but you've not met them. Even Penny, I felt like I knew Penny before I'd met her, and then she was here, and I was like, hi. And Gemma, Label Lady, yeah, people that I've been speaking to. And like I said earlier, I've met some of my best friends in real life now. Even my partner that I'm with now, I met him through social media. So yeah, it's lovely. It's the best for me. It's the payoff for all the negativity. I wouldn't change it because I wouldn't want to not have those people in my life. So it's worth it in the end. But
yeah, I think I didn't say earlier, but I think one of my positives about social media has been the conversations with people. And sometimes they'll see me on TV having done something and say, I'd never done DIY or upcycling before, and I've just done it, and I did it really well, and I feel amazing. And that kind of response is so lovely, but to actually have that in the flesh is even better. So it's so great to sort of be here at an event like this. I'm really conscious that people might have their own questions, so I might just throw it out there, and I'm going to bring a microphone over to you so you can ask a question to any of my panelists. Does anyone here have a question? Just put your hand up. Anything that I haven't covered? Oh, are you going to be the roving mic? Are you? Oh, I'm going to sit down. They're spoiling me, aren't they? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to carry on asking questions then. So I'm interested, what is the funniest, sorry, just putting you on the spot here, what is the funniest comment or message that you've ever had on social media?
oh my God, I don't know. You're going to have to come back to me. That's
really
like
hard.
proper on the spot, isn't it?
I was like,
I'm like, I don't know. I think probably, oh, actually, I know one. I had someone that bought a wax melt tin. They'd had it as a present, and she said, hi, sorry, I don't think they're working. And obviously I was like, oh, so what's the problem? And they thought they were soap. They were washing their hands with my wax melts. I was like, you need to put it in a wax burner and melt it. It's not soap. But I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. Just more things that have happened that we've done, like just accidents. I don't know, literally the other day, the pallet that we were bringing here collapsed and just went everywhere. It's just something every day, and try and capture it all. But it's often happened, and then you go and get your camera, don't you? But yeah, that did make me laugh, the soap one.
Do you know, this is completely off subject, but it's not quite as bad as my mum, who for Easter got an egg-shaped soap, thought it was chocolate, and actually took a bite. I'm going to come back to you guys. So you've got a bit of time to think about your funniest comment now, because we've got a question.
Hi, I'm just interested about your social content, as in the work that goes behind it. So something like a story is only 30 seconds, or a reel, and in particular about a garage, that can take a really long time if you're doing maybe a time lapse. How much work goes on behind the scenes to make a 30-second story?
That is such a great question.
Yeah, so we're quite lucky really that we've nailed how to film and edit them, and as long as we've got a tripod and keep it in the same place, we can do it pretty quickly. So the customers are always normally pretty impressed when they see how quickly we can film and edit the video. A lot of thought goes into before to what ideas we're going to do and how we're going to keep it interesting. But yeah, we got it down to a T of how we film and edit. So it's all done on our phones, so it's all sort of quite nice and easy for us anyway.
How about you, Sophie?
Yeah, great question, by the way. So yeah, very similar. I have nailed the filming process. I've tried so many other things, like I've literally spent money on other cameras and anything like that, but actually all just comes back to the mobile phone, to the iPhone. iPhone is so good. And do you know what? Some videos I can be like, I'll shout Jacob. I'll be like, Jacob, come upstairs. I'm just going to fold this. Can you just film it for me? And he'll hold the camera, and then I'll quickly edit it because I've got Splice is the app that I use on the phone, and that can go viral. And then I can spend 2 hours filming an amazing tutorial that's got shots of a cupboard, and I think I'm being really fancy, and it can go nowhere. So, but then the other way around, and you know, I've just hired a videographer. We've just filmed Christmas. It took us 2 days. We went on location, and it took us 2 days to film our Christmas wrapping this year. So loads of different ways. You'll never know what's going to go you'll never know what's going to be the best. But sometimes, and I think we always say it, when we go back through the videos and we analyse what's doing well and what's not doing well, it's usually what we started off doing on the iPhone, overhead shot for me, back to basics. But at the same time, I really enjoy going out on location, working with a videographer. So I will carry on doing it. But yeah, it's just a bit of everything. But the basic, what you started with is how you got where you are. So you've got to keep going back to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
How about you, Hannah?
Yeah, same really. I think you've just said it really well. Like, I've definitely gone full circle. Started out just iPhone in hand, you know, like filming, maybe using an app to edit, and that's about it. And then as I grew, I've gone down the whole of sort of trying to spend lots of money on fancy videos and photography and things like that, which definitely has a time and a place. And I think it's about having a balance of the two, but definitely the same. I've gone full circle, and, you know, a video that you've shot with your iPhone can do just as well. So I think the content that people enjoy most is just you just being genuine and organic and not over producing it, I guess, and just what you started out doing is exactly the reason that you've grown. So I think just being yourself. I think honestly my biggest mistake is being too critical of myself and probably deleting stuff and refilming it about 10 times, and I didn't really need to do that. So
yeah, I think that's the thing with social media, is it's all about being natural, and it's so people are so approachable on social media that actually the more produced, like you say, something is, I think the more of a wall you're putting up between you and people. Because I found exactly the same thing. You know, I'll spend a day or 2 days doing a video film. Look at me, and then that will be, it's okay. I loved it. I loved the look of it and everything. And then I took a photo of a hotel bathroom, going, what do you people think? Is this too clinical or is it chic? And that went crazy. It's like, oh my goodness, that took me 2 seconds before I went to the loo this morning, you know. So yeah, it's a funny old world, isn't it, that we're in?
Well,
definitely.
I think it just proves that if the content is right, it doesn't matter what quality your video is, how long your video is, all these stay within this many seconds, have this hit. I mean, they're all fine tips if you watch these people give out tips. But ultimately, if your content resonates, it will do well,
strikes a chord,
whatever the quality is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Tapping into that human interest, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions at all? Well, that means that I'm going to move on to you, Harry. What's the funniest comment or message or question that you've ever been asked on?
So a bit like Hannah, the only sort of story I can think of is we sell a lot of garage floor tiles that people fit themselves as well. So we ship them worldwide. And we had one that was complaining about the texture of the tile, and we've never had a problem with that, so we were a bit confused. So we asked them to send some pictures, and they'd actually laid the whole floor with the tiles upside down. So it was an easy fix when we just told them flip them the other way up, and the texture's different because the underside's completely different. So that was probably the one that I'll remember.
Oh my goodness. I had a decorator do that with bathroom tiles, these beautiful mosaic ones, and I was like, they were glass and they were sort of brown, and he hadn't taken the sheet off the back of the tiles before he put them on the wall. I was like, okay. So how about, I bet you must have some really funny comments or questions from people.
Do you know what? I don't think I do. We have a laugh in my DMs, I have to say, but more like two-way have a laugh. I do get some very specific, some people ask me for advice sometimes, but it's very, very specific. So much so I kind of have to choose to ignore it because I'm like, that's way too specific. So they'll give me the measurements of their drawers, and then they'll ask me what storage options they need from the measurements from this shop, or it's usually IKEA. But it's just, I'm just like, That's really that's really specific for me. And then how many do you think I'll be able to fit in? And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, that's quite hard, isn't it, as well?
Well, when there's measurements involved, I'm like, numbers involved, I can't look.
Exactly.
But yeah, I get very specific questions like that quite a lot.
Yeah, I can totally imagine that as well. Do we have any more questions? Because if not, I think we'll bring this panel to a close and let these, because you're very busy on your stand, aren't you? And I'm sure you've got lots of people to go around and see. So thank you so much to my panel guests, but also to you guys for sitting there so
Thanks for having us.
engaged.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, by the way, if you're sticking around at all, this is one of my favorite things ever, stationery. Who here loves stationery? Who here loves a to-do list? So if you haven't been to their stand yet, what's the time? How are we doing? Okay, so you've got 10 minutes until we have got Monique Sveinson from The Perfect Planner coming over here to do a talk.